This thing I don't think has ever been cleaned. Bird feathers, some dog hair, some cat hair. So that's all gonna have to be replaced. That's a nice bird's nest in it. Doors rotted out, drywall seam is cracking. Holes in the tub. This bathroom's getting completely gutted as well because there's water damage. All right guys, welcome back to Mr. Post Frame. For those of you guys who are new, my name is Paul and my channel is a DIY channel. I self-built 95% of my own Barndominium because I wanted to build my family the dream that I had for them. I also custom built a lot of Barndominiums, designed a lot of Barndominiums, but today we are on a whole house remodel. As you can see behind me, it has been painted. But on today's video, we're going to back up a little bit to the trimming out of the doors and the windows. And for those of you who've been following along, you know that this place was an absolute disaster. And if you have trimmed anything out, trim is ridiculously expensive. So I opted to save as much of the casing as possible. And this is what the color was before. So this is an oak trim. It was stained. We like white trim. And so that can be a little bit challenging. Really, all I needed to do this trim project was my trim, tape measure, and I use an 18 gauge brad nailer. My favorite is the pass load. And then the last thing you would need is obviously a miter saw, but let's go ahead and jump into this video. All right guys, so I am reusing this trim. I pulled all the nails, which took forever. But how I'm doing this is I'm setting my one side first, getting it where I want it, my 1/4 inch reveal. Then I'm taking my head trim, setting it in there, and making sure that I'm going to line up all right. And so, which I am. So I'm gonna go ahead and nail this down the side. And I have a nail sticking out. Stick that up there. Get this miter where I want it. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be close enough. There you have it. And so I continued with this method throughout the downstairs, and if you watched the previous video, you know I installed all new pre-hung doors, so it was a little bit of a challenge finding casing that was long enough or had the right fit, but all in all, it ended up turning out pretty good. This particular door right here is from the master bathroom into the master closet, and we opted to not put another door in there. So I just took some 1x material, made some new jambs and casing, and called it good. All right guys, we got all these doors downstairs trimmed back out. I had to put new trim on this, but everything else pretty much used old trim. And so now we got to transition to the windows down here, and I'm going to have to extend the jambs obviously. So I have my first pieces made. I just measured from the window out to the edge of the drywall, and I think I'm gonna make this one on the ground just because it's small. I'm gonna nail it together, make my casing, and then I can stick that whole thing up in the wall. And make sure I get my fingers back because I don't need a nail taking the grain and coming out and smashing me in the finger. Forgot this measurement, 34 1/4. Okay. Boom, perfectly level right there. All right, so I have these 2 screws, and you can use shims. Screws are just nice and easy. I bring them out close to the drywall, set them so they're level so I can set my jam extension on them. And then all I have to do is adjust this thing a little left, a little right, and we are good to go. All right, that one's in. Fill all these nail holes when I'm done. Will tell you, these are Pella windows, and dang, are they nice. They just seem to open and close so nice. Whenever I have windows or doors where I have to extend the jambs, this is by far my favorite way to do it, is to make all the extended jambs, cut all the casing, nail it all together on the floor. If you add glue to this and let it dry, it is incredibly strong. It's pretty impressive just with nails alone, which is what I'm doing right here. The only requirement is you need a pretty large area in order to nail this, lay it out and nail it all together. It's pretty solid. Man, that fit worked nice. I might have to notch the bottom though. It hits my pan, my door pan. So I'm gonna have to notch for that. One thing I did forget to do is nail the corners. So I gotta grab some shorter screws or nails. Boy, I've been wanting to take my sweatshirt off all day. This will be the last one for the downstairs. All right, so let's lift this up there. Oh, that looks great. Boom. Woo! One thing that I wanted to mention is before you put your extended jambs and casing up, you want to make sure that you insulate between the window and the framing. My go-to is Great Stuff using the Pro Series gun. Works awesome, very controllable, and you get good results. Guys, we're wrapping this trim up. I did all the downstairs yesterday and the windows upstairs. We're trimming out all these doors, and I'm using old casing. So what I have kind of found works good for me is if I put the head trim up first. I lucked out in this particular situation because I was raising the floor, so I'm able to cut some of the bottom of the trim off. So I was measuring up to my trim, cutting it off, and then when I slide it in there, I can just give it a little tap and it creates a really tight seam. This trim isn't perfect, but it's actually turned out pretty nice. So I'm gonna go ahead, I have all of the pieces cut for the rest of the door, so I'm gonna go ahead and get all of those up, and then I think we're done with the trim. Then I can touch up drywall, fill nail holes on the trim, and get ready for paint. All right, guys, that's the whole room, and looks pretty good. That went really fast. So I have the other bedroom in this hallway, and then trim will be done. So this is the gun I use. It's a pass load 18 gauge brad nailer. I shoot 2-inch brads out of it. That way they get through the trim, through the drywall, and into the jack and king stud or the header. So you have a good solid connection. All right, look what just showed up. Paint delivery. So this is the stuff that I'm using to fill nail holes. This is actually white because we were painting everything white. You can get natural colors and stuff like that, but it's like a plastic. It's really awesome. You can fill the hole, and it's you can use a wet rag to clean it up. Sands, paintable, looks great. So this is what we are going to be filling all the holes with. It is quite time consuming to fill holes in all of the trim, but with white trim, you will see all those holes. So I got to do a pretty good job doing all that. All right, let's just see how long it takes us. It's 9:14 to fill all these holes. All right, 3:14 to 3:20, 6 minutes. Geez, that took a long time. No, it should be dry enough everywhere. Can take just like a light sanding block and go over it right away. Just to clean it up. And you're done. You see I got these all taped off. Pretty good. Front door's all taped off the same way. I'm gonna take that door out when I get to that point, and then I'll spray. I took all the seals out, so I'll spray all of that in the outside edge trim, and then I can put that door back in. That door's gonna get painted a different color. I'm not sure there's a whole lot else. All the floors still taped off. When I just tucked it up tight, I ran tape around the edge, then I put my plastic up and taped the plastic to that tape. And that seemed to work pretty well. All right guys, that's gonna be a wrap on today's video. Hopefully you found something in here useful. Make sure you come back next week to see how this paint turned out and what I'm gonna have to do to make this old trim look great. But we appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you check out our DIY group and make sure you hit that like button, share us with your friends, and don't stop dreaming.